guys and a microphone. Two bald guys and a microphone. Two bald guys and a microphone. Two bald guys and a microphone. Hello, we're back, and some people been wondering where we've been. It don't matter, cause right now it's happening. Same station, new day and time slot. Content forever is flowing, we won't stop. Providing remedies for chemical brain freeze. And teaching reboot, stressing you believe. We're two bald guys and a microphone. We're glad to be back, it feels good to be home.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We are
Two bald guys and a microphone.
And we're in a new studio.
Yeah, this is our we call it the streets, here at 216. It's our second studio in the big town of Crystal Lake, Illinois. You'll see that it's we've kind of given it a little bit of home with the rustic wooden brick, but also we are in partnership with Piano Trends. Check them out at pianotrends.com for all of your musical instruments and things of that nature. But they are incredible, so that's why we're sitting at a piano. We don't have cocktails. We've got coffee, right?
And we won't start singing to you, well, maybe a little.
Maybe a little bit. Big shout out again to all the people who've been with us the long time here at Two Bald Guys Natural Therapy Wellness Center. Check them out at www.mchenrymassage.com, 815-385-8190. Great people. If you need a massage, they're the people to do it.
Well, I've been going to John for probably since this whole time for my annual massages,
Yeah.
weekly, monthly, whenever I need something. He's the only one I've ever run into can work out those kinks and
It's great.
and get things done. But they have several modalities there. It's not
Yeah.
just a traditional massage. They do the hot stone,
Thai yoga, massage, acupuncture,
All kinds
hot
of
stone,
stuff.
deep tissue. Yeah,
But if you're stressed, just head down to Natural Therapy
That's right.
Wellness and be blessed.
that's right. And of course, also JH Events and Flowers is always a good time. We just came out of spring and we're back into winter. So nothing better to brighten up the weekend around the house and a couple of bouquets of flowers. Check them out at jheventsflowers.com. And don't forget on Fridays, $5 Fridays. Listen, it's not the frozen stuff that is at some grocery stores that you bust in and pay $10 for. Fresh cut flowers for $5.
Getting out of trouble for $5.
$5, yeah, right?
They had their grand opening of their new store
Yeah.
in Fox Lake. I was there that night for the celebration.
Yeah.
And I go to a lot of chamber celebrate. It was packed. There
Yeah.
were probably 50, 60 people squeezed
That's awesome.
into the spot. So they
That's
did a
awesome.
great job. Really proud of them.
Of course, we are right around the corner from actually on Friday is our 6-year anniversary of being DDOE Enterprises Inc. Yeah.
The 216 that DDOE. What was the original name of the company? It was
Two Bald.
Two Bald, Two Bald Inc.
Two Bald Inc. Yeah.
But we DDOE, Daily Dose of Encouragement, really became an over-encompassing.
Yeah.
Because it's our goal to
Yeah.
provide a daily dose of encouragement with everything that happens here at the station. It was a big deal. I mean, a lot of great memories. The room that we had would not fit this piano. There would be no way to.
What was it? An 8 by 8 walk-in closet, basically.
We would, coat up in Vaseline so we could squeeze it in there.
We'd have 4 guys in there sometimes.
And it was
great.
4 big guys.
Yeah.
But it was a start to something new. And now this is just one little piece of the space that we have here.
Yeah.
Some of the future plans going on for this
Grant,
building.
good morning, brother.
Is the
All the way from Oshkosh. Bagosh.
There's several opportunities. Building a recording studio
Yeah.
here. Doing
Yeah, we've got space at with the Piano Trends juncture here. We've got space for live bands. You can bring your entire band in and record. So we got studio time, which is very, very hard to get. We've got what I call the spoken word, smaller studio for voiceover work. If you are, let's say you are an author like our good friend Kashawn Parker. Voices of the 21st Century, Women Empowered Through Passion and Purpose. Great book. Check it out. You can just shoot us a message. It's a great book. But when she's going to make this an audiobook, she's going to come in and she'll read it, and we'll do all the producing and everything for it. It's nice.
And we've got the audiobook coming up on the reboot.
Yeah.
The book.
The book.
We'll
Yep.
turn that into an audiobook right here as a
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
get started.
So just a lot of good things happening here in our sixth year, the beginning of our sixth year. Of course, we're really 216 Creator Studios is what we've really kind of branded and rolled into, just
Right.
because we want creators. We want people who have a passion for things.
And just the difference between Two Bald Guys and DDOE Creator Studios. Two Bald Guys was a radio show that started in 2016
yeah.
in Harvard on the
Yeah.
FM radio station. And then 2 years later, it morphed into our own internet.
Yeah.
And we've had the opportunity to touch a lot of lives.
Yeah,
we,
that's cool.
we still will get messages that, hey, that show you had the other day was really what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Many, many years ago, I had a speaking engagement at Johnsburg Library. And they'd announced it and put it in their flyer about 6 weeks ahead of the thing.
Mhm.
It was on leadership. And they had one person registered for it. So Maria Zawacki was a librarian at that time, called me. She goes, Tim, we only have one person registered. We should cancel. I said, no, let's have that person come. I said, I'll fill the rest of the seats. So I called friends and family, everybody who'd seen my presentation before. And we filled the room up for that one person, because there's one person out there that needs to hear the message you have every
Yep.
day. And I've always believed in that. 1 or 1,000 or 1,000,000, whatever the reach is exactly what God intended for that day. And
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's that's really our mantra, is to change the world one listener at a time.
listener at a time.
Not
So
change the listener. We wanna
we
change
are
the
here
world.
to change your world.
That's right. Or help you change the world. Anyway, today we are jumping into the inbox and maybe a throwback a little bit from Two Bald Guys. And you just got back from a couple weeks down in Texas, did some great speaking engagement there and training.
I really, this event I spoke at was it wasn't just average real estate. This is upper level real estate
Yeah.
and AI. Talk about how artificial intelligence is impacting the real estate
Yeah.
marketing world. The person who was demonstrating read 3 sentences into the computer, and then AI was trained.
EIEIO. That's
EIEIO. Old McDonald. I promise not to sing.
Good
it.
morning, Cappuccino.
And with those 3 sentences, the AI was trained to his voice for all words. So then they had a call from a person in the audience, or they called a person in the audience, like a marketing call.
Yeah.
We're doing this XYZ. We'd like to stop over and meet you in person. What would be a good time to do that this Tuesday or next Friday at 2:00? And the person would throw an objective out, and the AI would intelligently respond in your voice to that objective,
That's awesome.
and then ask for another appointment. And they would do that like 3 times, and then it would cordially let them go. It was really no pressure. But the cool thing about it, or the scary thing about it, if you have 1,000 contacts and you load those 1,000 contacts into your system and you hit a button, it calls all 1,000 at the same time.
Woo.
So it's like boom, and all 1,000 are having conversations,
With
different
you.
conversations with different people in your voice, in your manner.
The easiest way around that is to just always say, "Excuse me, Tim, what are you wearing?" AI doesn't know how to answer that. If it's a real person, they'll be like, "Excuse me."
I've got on tan khakis and a red shirt. Yeah, sure you
Sure
do.
you do. Sure you do. That's it. So let's jump into our inbox. And here's just some questions from some fans, from some people, and we'll do the best to answer them today. And then the next go around, we're putting together probably a 3 to 4 episode on Dream Quest.
Dream Quest.
Yeah.
I think of MapQuest, putting in a destination, and the GPS takes you through all the turns and lets you know about how long it's going to take to get there. Dream Quest is kind of that same thought where this is your dream. What does it take to get there?
Yeah.
What's an average time a person will achieve that dream, and then let you decide. Do you want to be average? Do you want to be above average? Or maybe I don't want to.
Maybe I don't.
Maybe that dream was a little too intense, but
maybe that's not a good.
It'll be fun.
That's it. So, so the first question that came in was, outside of your family and helping others, what brings you joy?
For me, it's still basketball.
Yeah. For a soccer guy.
Well, for me playing,
playing. Okay.
Playing. What brings me joy is getting out and playing basketball. Now with my knee and things, I'm not able to do it much. But my 7-year-old, I have found somebody I can beat again. So I've got another one building up. But just dribbling a basketball, being around basketball, it's always been my go-to. And I know what we talked about that. Coaching, I took up soccer coaching. I love soccer coaching. But the only reason I did in the beginning was teachers didn't know anything about soccer. Soccer players don't become teachers.
Yeah.
So getting into the school system as a coach, as a soccer coach, it was easy. Basketball, everybody wants to coach basketball. Everybody thinks they know how to coach basketball. And so those positions weren't available to people outside. So getting involved in soccer and track and field were the two ways I got into the school systems. And then that eventually turned into basketball. And I'm still coaching 6th grade boys basketball to this day.
Yeah.
But it's that's where soccer came. My love's always been basketball.
Yeah. For me, what brings me joy outside of my family and helping others, wind therapy, getting on the motorcycle, the 2 wheels, and a lot of that is, Coach, because why not your mountain bike or whatever? Well, there's a lot of work involved in a mountain bike, right? But when I'm on the motorcycle, you have to be very, very present, right? You're going to die. Somebody's going to hit you. Somebody's not going to see you. A deer is going to run across the road, something, right, where we live. So you have to be very, 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 very zen in the moment, very, very present. But it's very freeing because then my mind is not everywhere, right? So that brings me a lot of joy. The next would be sitting next to a like a lake or a river,
Right.
And not like the Mississippi. I need a place in the woods or a lake where there's not a lot of boats whipping around. Instead, we look at the Fox and there's a lot of traffic on there.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I don't know if I like that. But when I go to man camp and we're on the Wisconsin River up by Tomahawk, Wisconsin, and it's just you and the trees, absolutely.
It's been a few years since I've done it, but Dave Rigby and I used to kayak the entire chain of lakes once a year.
Wow, yeah.
But we'd leave at 4:30 in the morning so we could be out there before all the crazies hit the water. And it is really a beautiful, serene environment at that time of day.
Yeah.
And then around 9:30, 10 o'clock, it just goes great. And the other thing that does bring me a lot of joy is writing, especially my poetry and other things. So once I can sit down and put a thought into something that people will enjoy, makes a big difference.
Eric, good morning. Good morning. Says, wearing bedazzled pants brings me peace. Brings us all joy. That's
well, at least entertainment.
That's right. I like getting lost. I can get lost on that bike. I can get lost in, sitting on the side of the water, or staring at a campfire. Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll burn a lot of stuff outside, just so I can sit and watch the flames. I mean, I can get lost in a fire too. Yeah.
We should do more fires this year.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Next question. And if you guys feel free, like Eric, throw in what give us your answer. Here's the next question in the inbox. What movie character would you most want to be like? What movie character would you most want to be like?
Well, the younger me was probably Rambo.
Okay.
Of course, being an infantry officer in those days, it was a survivalist and things. As I've grown older, I think I would look at what's his name in Pretty Woman, Richard Gere.
Yeah.
In a lot of his movies, that sophisticated yet playful type individual.
Yeah.
I would gravitate towards roles like that, but I still watch some of these action movies, and my brain, I'm still there.
Yeah.
Then my body says no.
I'm I'm not a big movie guy. So Tommy Boy, I guess.
That guy in a little
right.
car.
It's just if I could be any movie character, it would be a Will Ferrell character, or Chris Farley, or just something goofy. Adam Sandler. It just something goofy, and a lot of it. Mr. Deeds is Tommy want wingy. That's right. Ferris Bueller, good point, man. For forever, if you grew up in the 80s, that was the guy to be. But yeah, just that kind of fun-loving guy that just like, hey, doesn't get it all the time. I think I don't need to be Batman or anybody like that, but that's who I would be. All right, so here's a question, and I when was the last time you felt, quote unquote, lit up? I don't think they're talking about drunk.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Last time I felt
lit up. So that must, that's lit, I guess the youngins say.
at the state track meet last year, my grandson made it to the state track meet in the 800. And when I was in high school, I ran the 800 in the state track meet as part of a 2-mile relay.
Yeah.
So being there in that moment, reliving the race while watching him, was probably the last time I really was.
Mine was August 5th, 2023.
That was an incredible night.
And that was at my daughter's wedding. Just a slush of emotions, highs, lows, happiness, sadness. But then being able, what do we have, 300 people there or something, and be able to get up and give my dad's speech, was I felt pretty lit up there. That was pretty good. It was a great night. And when you're 6-8 months past it, and people are still talking about that night and the fun.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your family for that night.
That was a good one. This is a good one. What makes you lose track of time? What makes you lose track of time?
This show.
Yeah. Can't get that back.
when I'm writing, when I'm working on a project, when I'm putting together a program right now with the brain training, working with the guy out of Israel, Shlomi Shaagra, who contacted me on LinkedIn to provide me coaching training of some kind.
Yeah.
But I told him I'm not really doing that so much as I'm working with the brain training. What's that? Took Shlomi through the session that you've been through. And he got excited. He's connected us with the Israeli military Department of Defense. So we're going through the process to get vetted by Israel to bring the training to the Israeli army. But in the meantime, I don't speak Hebrew. So I'm not going to be able to train them, but he is. So I'll be putting together a program to certify Shlomi to be the trainer for Israel in the Middle East. So putting that program together, my wife's like, "Are you coming to bed?" Because I want to get all the I's dotted and T's crossed in time.
Yeah,
for that.
love what Eric
that
says.
type of thing.
Invited friends over last Saturday night, grilled, fire. Totally lost track of time. And you know what? So true. I mean, and when you're around people you love and you're laughing and having just a good time, serving people, that happens fast, right? Every show, oh my God, that was an hour. Holy smokes! That was
when we were doing
hour.
3 hours at Harvard.
Yeah,
it was over before you, and we'd tell the guests when they come in.
Yeah,
it's the show's going to be. Oh no, it's 3 hours. It's a long time, and I was like, where did that go?
Right. I would say TikTok. TikTok makes me lose track of time. You get wrapped up in those reels, and I follow a lot of comedians and funny people, and so a lot of it's just me laughing at my phone or tablet or whatever I'm on at the time. But TikTok definitely makes me lose time. Shana, good morning. For me, time disappears when I converse with authentic, open-minded people.
Well, why does she hang out here?
Yeah. This is where she this is where she can read a book. Yeah. No, you know, that's true too. There's something to be said about just a good conversation. You know, when somebody is you know, paying attention to you, there's no interruptions. There's no you know, they're not getting bothered by their phone. They're not getting bothered by a tablet or, you know, or a TV show or whatever the case may be. And you know, you're just locked in. How many times have you and I met somebody and we start talking about passions and having great conversations? The next thing you know, we're like, oh my gosh, you know, this hour, it would spend an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We've got other things to do. You've got other things to do, right? It's, I think the art of good conversation is lost, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we know how to have a good conversation without, you know, oh, hold on. Oh, let me just. Bzz, 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 bzz.
Well, when the phone buzzes and you're looking at your wife going, "Where are you?" You know the conversation may have gone a little bit too far.
Eric says lost days watching Oppenheimer. I'm glad that I haven't watched it, which is good. That's awesome. All right. Here's a good question too that came in the inbox is, what are you drawn to? Right. So, you know, are you walking down the street and it's a taco truck? Is it, you know, what is it that you no matter where you're at or what you're doing, you just feel drawn to it? Like, I gotta get there.
Water.
Yeah.
When I was in Toronto, the airport is on an island, and you get on the island, and then you walk in an underground tunnel to the mainland, and then the venue was a Westin hotel, about a mile walk along Lake Ontario, I believe is up there. I'm just drawn to the water. You know, it took me like an hour to walk a mile.
Yeah.
Because I just kept going down. As a guy's fishing, I went and sat by him to, you know, and started a conversation, and just I love the water.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter where you're at. Shana says, I love being inspired versus influenced. You know, that could be a title of a show because there's a lot of quote unquote influencers who don't do anything but influence me not to do whatever.
Maybe we can be inspirers.
Right. I was just like, oh my God, that's horrible. I would never buy that product or whatever because of this idiot, right? To me, what am I drawn to? Laughter, happiness. I'm really drawn to good energy, good vibes, right? If somebody's laughing, you know, I'm not going to be, what are you guys laughing about? You know, but you just kind of pull into those people. People are having fun. People who seem to be getting it in the moment, right? That good energy is what I'm really drawn to. Very much the same though, you know, if depends what mood I'm in as well, right? I mean, if there's somebody being an idiot, you know that I'm never afraid to poke the bear.
Well, that's material for the show,
right? You know, step in there and go, "Hey, you're an idiot," right? But I think I'm drawn. I'm very drawn to human reaction. Human reaction. Yeah.
Yes, when someone's sad. You know, what's going on? They say everybody lights up a room, some by walking in, others by leaving.
Some by walking out.
And, you know, we're drawn to those people who light up the room.
Yeah.
You know, people are just, they stand apart.
Yep.
You know, Wayne Jett's one of those kind of guys. When Wayne walks into a room, people kind of slow down and go over. You know, he's the mayor, but he's the mayor because he is that person.
Yeah.
I mean, locally.
A lot of truth there. And I think that's you just kind of get that. But yeah, I'm drawn to happiness, drawn to real people. Very, you know, you can see if they're plastic, what Alice and I would call plastic or fake people. You're like, Don't need that, which is good. Listen, just another shout out. You'll see it right down here, right, is Natural Therapy Wellness Center, www.mchenrymassage.com, and our good friends over at JH Events and Flowers, for all your floral needs, man cave, she shed, you got it, they got it. 2 locations, one in Fox Lake, right across from the train station, the other right across from the City Hall here in McHenry, but jhevents.flowers.com.
Yeah, and again, going back to, I was at their grand opening, and the mayor was there, and the shops along this street, a lot of them have been there for 15, 20, 30 years. So it's a very long term.
Yep.
And the shop they took over, the people who were there prior to her had been there for 40 years. So it's a very popular location, and they've done very well since moving.
That's awesome.
They're such great people, though.
Also, just want to let you know about some programming on Friday at 3 p.m. in the Know with Steph and Joe. Going to be talking about the follow-up. When is too soon?
Follow up or the follow through?
The follow up. So if you're a small business specialist, of course, in the Know with Steph and Joe, brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Steph's Bookkeeping Service and Restoration One of Cary. But this is all about small business development. They have a good time. They laugh. You learn a lot. But if you're in the sales world or the business world, the follow up, the art of the follow up. When is too soon? This Friday at 3 in the Know with Steph and Joe.
And I got to give them a big shout out at Restoration One. Joe's obviously, and his wife Carrie are the owners of the franchise. But they have sponsored the training. This Friday, I'll be training the state's attorney's office in McHenry County. And Restoration One sponsored the training. They paid the tab so we can do the training for our state's attorney's office.
Love them guys. All right. Let's get back to the questions. I was trying
to avoid them.
I love this one that came in. And this came in from Julie. Julie says, what would you regret not doing, being, or having in your life? What would you regret not doing, being, or having in your life?
Not having, I started the back. I'd regret not having the family that I have and the friends. They're special. They make me who I am. Doing, what would I regret not doing?
Yeah, you got a bucket list. I mean, are you jumping out of airplanes? Is it the Grand Canyon? When you're on your deathbed, you go, man, I wish I would have done this.
Sydney, Australia is on my
Yeah, no, absolutely no desire to go there. Have you seen some of the size of bats and spiders and things down there? That doesn't, yeah.
I trained with
those are aliens, man. I don't know.
I trained in the military with Australian officers, and they were incredible. My cousin lived over there for 11 months, almost a year. And it's just a place in the world I want to go hang out. Being from the country and the country. So that's one thing. What was the other? Being. What would I regret not being? A coach.
Yeah.
I regret not being a coach. And, many people think a coach is just about the season, but once you coach an athlete, you're theirs for life. I mean, they come back to you. I'm sure you've had many times where you get a phone call and it's somebody you coached years ago.
Yeah.
I just had one yesterday. I'm getting my bike ready to go out for a bike. It took me an hour and a half to get that bike ready to
you had to get the training wheels off.
That's right. Had a new seat to put on and some other things. Got out going and a half mile into the ride, the chain came off. And I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? But while I was getting ready, one of my former athletes who became one of my soldiers later in his life, who I've constantly mentored throughout his life, called me again yesterday and wanted to get together and get some things going on. So I'd regret not being a coach.
Yeah. What would I regret not doing? I don't know. I've done a lot of things.
I've been everywhere.
Yeah. What would I regret not doing? Man, I don't know if there's anything. To love and be loved should cover it for Shayna, right? Not doing. I don't know. That's a hard one for
Yeah.
me. I've done a lot. And I'm kind of the guy, my family knows this too. If I want it, I go get it, do it, or whatever, right? They're like, we don't ever know what to get you for your birthday or Christmas, because if I want it, I go get it. If I, you know what I mean? Not doing. I don't know. That's a tough question for me. I wish I would have read this before the show, so I could have come up with a good answer. I mean, that's horrible. Not being. I would regret not being a dad. Right. I love my kids. I love the relationship with my kids. I love everything about being a dad. So I would regret not being a dad, or not having in your life. What would I regret not having in my life? You know what? Yeah. Fatherhood. I don't know if that's a doing, right? That's why I say being a dad. Is it for me, Shana? Not having in my life. I would regret not having time. Right? It's the only thing we can't control in life. Time for what? I don't know. Right?
Just time.
What I would hate is to be on the deathbed and saying, man, I wish I had more time. Right? You and I are like, I want to come skidding across the line to heaven, right? Rolling in on a headfirst slide or something, like, I'm here. That is absolutely, that's what I would regret, having or not having in my life, not having.
You always say the coolest things.
What?
As you're talking, I'm like, yeah, I'd regret not being a parent. Yeah. So, well said.
Yeah. A motorcycle. Yeah. I mean, you know what? That could be a regret not doing, because that is such a. I mean, if you ride motorcycle, you get it. I mean, that's a sacred thing, and I don't mean putting your leathers on and hanging out with the Hells Angels, or anarchy, whatever that show is.
Trimming your beard, and
it's just I would regret not doing that, not doing the motorcycle, because it's so freeing. It's so wind therapy, as I call it, is so good, so good. There's a good one too, Coach. What's something you'll spend time doing no matter what? Doesn't matter. Tornado going on, hurricane in your life. You're in the cesspool of life, but you'll always find time to do, no matter what.
Spend time with the grandkids.
Yeah.
I mean, that's this morning. We get a call last night, which we do a couple of times a week. Jesse goes to work out in Spring Grove, rides down there with his dad. Jesse's a sophomore in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll call the night before and say, can you pick me up after my workout? Come back to my house. He gets a shower. I fix him an egg sandwich. But that means I have to get up an hour and a half earlier than I normally do to do that. But if it's time with the grandkids, my granddaughter, who got married last March, has her and her new husband have decided they want to buy a house instead of continuing paying rent. They asked if they could move back to our house, and they're still going to pay something, but not nearly what they're paying at the other place.
They're going to pay the price.
And so the ability to have her living in our house, hanging out with the grandkids.
Something that I will spend time doing no matter what. Making people laugh. I hate uncomfortable situations. I was having a conversation with somebody, and they had mentioned somebody who passed or something like that. I'm like, don't make a joke. Don't make a joke. Don't make a joke. because I love to make people laugh. I'll always find a way to poke people, to get them to think. I want people to think deeply. I will always find time to do that. I'm no Ted Lasso, of course, right? But if I could bring a smile to somebody's face, and I don't mean in a comedic way, maybe it's just holding a door, maybe it's, I'll always find time, no matter what kind of cesspool I'm in, to make somebody smile or to try to help them better their day.
And that goes back from our mentor, our co-host,
Yeah.
God rest his soul, Ron Holstreet.
Yeah.
How can I make your day better?
Yeah.
Every conversation. How can I make your day better today? Right up to the end. I mean, our conversations before he got sick were, it would be a quick call that lasted an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And just a lot of laughter during our calls. As it got down towards the end, they were like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But during those 2 minutes, he always found a way to show that even in the pain and suffering he was going through, how can I make your day better?
Well, he always ended our conversations by, "Hey, Deke, why don't you call next time when you don't have so much time to talk?" Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
That's
That's just, no matter what, I'll always find a way to do that. Without saying children, without saying family or grandkids, what's the best gift anyone's ever given you? Why was it, quote unquote, the best?
It's the same gift. It's a different thing, but the same gift. It happens every season, and that's the gift that the team gives you at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Whether it's a keychain or a gift card to Panera or Starbucks. I hate Starbucks, but when they give me a gift card to Starbucks, I'll be like, "Oh, thank you very much."
It's a regifter.
Yes. But that gift at the end of the season that says, "Thank you, Coach."
Yeah.
For the work that you put in.
Yeah.
Those are the gifts. And there have been times we don't do it for the gifts.
Yeah.
But there have been times over the years, and I've coached over 5,000 athletes. It's happened very seldom, but when they don't give you, you're like,
"Yeah,
did I do something wrong?"
I love it. I'm trying to look up mine here. I was listening, but I'm trying to look up mine. And I just,
That's dead air right there.
I got it when I was a kid. We lived on the farm, and literally this thing right here. I gotta see what's anyway. It was this. It's got to be this one. It was the Ford 500 wide front with FFA logo tractor, blue, right?
The old blue Ford.
And it was big as a kid. It was maybe, I don't know what size, but you could turn the steering wheel and the front wheels would turn.
Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't a little die cast like Matchbox size. This was bigger. This was Tonka truck size.
Right.
And it had the blue hay wagon behind it. Right. And, that thing, I don't know what it was about that thing. We lived on a 100-acre farm outside of Lansing, Michigan at the time. Maybe it was because we were on a farm. And maybe it was because that was the only tractor that I could drive, right? But man, I played with that thing. I washed it. I kept it clean. I mean, you go out, you put mud, dirt in it, whatever, as you're playing out in the yard. And then I would wash it off. And this thing, I don't know what it was about this Ford tractor. And I've thought about it years and years. Like, man, if I could find, it's probably expensive now, but if I could grab one, I would grab one in a minute. Now, maybe the reason that I love that so much is I'm the youngest of four boys, as you know. And I may have shared this over the years, but, we had a big IH tractor, right? Wide tire front.
Right.
And my brothers could all drive it. Now at our farmhouse, right? The driveway teardropped in front of the, came in and then teardropped around. So you had like a turnaround in front of the house, but then it went around the yard and came out on the back side of the house on the road. So all my brothers were driving the tractor. My dad would, you'd keep it in first, and you would putz around the house and into the road, and then around, right? Because we're out in the country, there's really no traffic, and so it had the handbrake that threw it. You know what I mean? That threw it like into neutral. You just pull down that handbrake that threw it into neutral, because I wasn't big enough to push the clutch.
There it is on eBay for $210.
It didn't have the top on it, though.
Yeah, I'm sure that's removable.
Yeah, right. And so what happened was, my mom was like, "He's too little to drive that." My dad's like, "He can handle it. He can handle it." And of course, I wasn't listening to the instructions on what to do in the case of, I was just excited to be able to drive this thing. My dad wasn't on the tractor with me, so I'm driving this big piece of farm machinery, and I'm 7, maybe 8, right? And keep in mind, I hit 5 foot and 100 pounds when I was a freshman in high school, so I was a little guy, right? And
you had to come off the seat to push the clutch all the way in.
Right. So around the first little turn is the chicken coop.
You told me this.
Right. And so I'm going, and I can't turn this thing. And I climb up the chicken coop fence. And then that goes down, and I hit the side of the chicken coop. My dad sprints faster than I've ever seen my dad move. My mom is up at the house. Yeah, what are you doing, Dad? My dad is like, and I've never seen my dad move so fast. He jumps up and he grabs them, and I'm shaking like, oh, the chickens are flying everywhere. They're like, free, we're free. And then I never was asked,
allowed to drive the tractor.
I was never asked to drive that tractor again. So I was always in the back, or on stand on it. And so maybe that's why I love that blue.
Well, you brought a great memory out there. We raised sugar beets growing up, and sugar beets have to be the weeds. There can be no weeds around sugar beets.
Yeah.
So every year there would be a group of family of Mexican nationals would come up and work for us all summer long for basically $1 a day and as much beer they could drink. And we had, because of that, 150 hoes on our farm.
Thank you.
So
the farm tool.
I would take those hoes, and we'd have one at the house, and I would make roadways.
Oh yeah.
And you make these roadways for the tractors and the trucks, and I had the same, type tractors. Ours were all John Deere though.
Green, yeah.
But it was the hours I would spend building a roadway.
Right.
I'd drive the tractor for 10 minutes. The rain would come through the next day or the next year in Nebraska.
Right.
And
wash
it all away, and you had to do it all over again.
Yeah.
Those are some great memories.
Oh, those were awesome, right? That was a good time. Shana says, I have a compulsion to involve myself in bullying situations or where there is a power imbalance always. I hate bullies. We won't go political.
Yeah. That's a whole show.
A whole different show there. But I'm the same way. And I can be honest. I was a dick when I was a kid. I'm sure I bullied people, but I was little, so it was the
Chihuahua syndrome.
It was the Chihuahua syndrome, and I probably, looking back, wanted to make myself feel better or whatever. Yeah. It was bad, right? Absolutely.
I was bullied by a guy, and actually had the opportunity to address a middle school.
Yeah.
When I was substitute teaching, they had a bullying assembly. And they said, has anybody here been bullied? And I raised my hand. They go, oh, well, tell us about it. Well, I told them a little bit of the story, but the rest of the story is the guy who was responsible for the bullying, he's married to my brother's wife's sister. So anytime we go back to Nebraska and it's Thanksgiving or anything, we're together for family events. And I still get that little feeling, but with my infantry skills today and the abilities I have, I could tear them apart.
Sure.
But it's one of those things, I just walk in the room and I just feel this overshadowing of that.
And now the rest of the story.
Yeah, it was
page 2.
So, which is why I've always taken care of those who are.
That's it. All right. Here we've got 3 more questions. We've got time to get through here in the next 15 minutes. 1, what do you want more of in your life? Cowbell?
More cowbell. More time. I mean, we
more
talked
time
about that earlier. Just more time. And I don't mean in a day. I don't need 25 or 26 hours. But when I went through the quadruple bypass, it made me realize that we have a limited time here. And what is our time? So more time, more healthy time. I watch some of the people. I speak at a assisted living facility, and I watch the people who are there. And I'd love to talk to you sometime about taking a show in there and interviewing.
I think it'd be great.
I think it'd be a great show. The wisdom
Yeah.
that we've locked into our assisted living facility is just unbelievable. But that's
Call it the waiting room.
probably many wouldn't get that.
Right.
But yeah.
God's waiting room.
Yeah.
Stories from God's waiting room. And of course, we'd have to have a highlight magazine so somebody could circle all the hidden pictures and ruin it for everybody else. All right. What do I want? What do I want more of in my life?
More Shayna. We need more Shayna.
All right. Now this may surprise several of you, and Shayna, you'll probably give me an amen on this one. I want more people with common sense. We have become a nation of people who have absolutely, on the common sense scale, zero.
How can you call it common sense if it's not common?
It just drives me batty how
That explains a lot.
dumb people are. Give me more people with common sense. We've found a way to lose it in the world, and when you stumble across somebody who's got common sense, it's so refreshing. You're like, oh, you're not an idiot. So what do I want more in my life is more people with common sense. Just please. All right. I think you'll like this one. Are you a hummingbird flittering from passion to passion, or are you a woodpecker who drills down into one passion? This is a good question, isn't it?
Yeah. Throughout my life, I've always had several different projects going on. And I've always prided myself on the ability to compartmentalize that. When I'm here on the radio show, I'm on the radio show. I'm not being the general manager for a window washing company.
Right.
When I'm on stage in Dallas, I'm not worried about this. But I am quite literally more of a hummingbird going from the red juice to the green juice to the blue juice.
Yeah.
Because I do have a lot going on. And,
Yeah.
the old "what part of no don't you understand" has always been
Yeah, there's the t-shirt for the day. Make it make sense again. Amen. 2024. That's right. I'm probably the woodpecker that pecks on 3 different trees.
Well,
Right.
I could have said it that way too. I mean, I understand what you're saying, though.
But I do like shiny objects and squirrels.
Sure.
That's right. I do not do birds. There was a bird in the studio, and it was like a wren or something in here. Got in, and Drew's doing his thing. Drew had to get rid of it. I was like, I'm not showing up. I'm not showing up because I don't do birds. And if the bird's inside, it's crazy. Nope, because the bird knows it ain't supposed to be inside. Let's see. Coach has a remarkable poker face. You almost always have to guess when he thinks things are silly. He does. You don't want to play poker with him. Trust me.
My wife is like, "Why aren't you laughing at that?" I'm remembering it. I'm repeating it in my brain so I can use it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of funny things.
That's what I say is I am, not a hummingbird or a woodpecker. I'm that lovable black lab. And you throw a stick, I'll go get it. You throw a stick, I'll go get it. You throw a stick, I'll be like, hey, there's a bird or another dog or something. Let's sit over here for a little while. And then I'll come back and you'll be like, oh, the stick. Oh yeah, let me go get the stick. Yeah, that's kind of who I am, which is good. All right, so let's take a look at this. And I love this question, and that's why I saved it for last. All right. From the inbox here on Two Bald Guys and a Microphone. Here's the question. If you achieved all of your life goals tomorrow, what would you do next?
Chase a stick. All of my life goals tomorrow, what would I do next? I would not run for political office.
Too many skeletons there.
Yeah, what would I do next?
That's a good question, isn't it?
I defer to the bald guy and the.
Yeah.
Let me think about that for a second.
If I had achieved all my life goals tomorrow, what would I do next? And my dad told me this, suggested this when I was 16. And I, always was doing something on the go, basketball, bouncing, working on a car, whatever. Is my dad looked at me and he says, you have to learn to do nothing.
Yeah.
So if I achieved all my life goals tomorrow, the next thing that I would do is nothing. I would learn how to just do nothing. So, if you've ever run a marathon, which I haven't, and I never intend to.
I have.
Right? I have done a half of a triathlon, right? Is this. When you hit that finish line, they give you beer and bagels, right? And there's somebody there to rub you down. They've got it all.
Today
right?
they do, but when I ran it, they didn't.
Well, no,
they gave you a banana. And
back when you were in Athens and you were running from Greece to.
I want to tell him.
So you do nothing. You get there and you exhale. You have a bagel. You have a beer. You kind of and you do nothing. So if I had achieved all my life goals tomorrow, I would do what my dad said and do nothing. I'd have to learn how to do nothing, and that just means nothing. I could just sit there and do nothing.
In 1983, I ran the Chicago Marathon. I didn't finish. I made it 17 miles. So I actually trained for the next marathon. In 1985, I ran the Lake County Marathon from Zion, Illinois to Ravinia Park.
Yeah.
Someone had given us tickets to the Cubs game that same day. And based on the time that I run, if my wife picked me up at the finish line, we should be able to get to the Cubs game just on time. We had a 1977 Toyota Corolla. So I cross the finish line. She's waiting in the Corolla. I jump in. We go to Wrigley Field. I sit there for 9 innings, too exhausted to even stand up for the 7th inning stretch. When I do stand up after the game,
Cramped.
I cannot lift my foot high enough to walk up the stairs. I have to let gravity take me down the stairs and find a wheelchair ramp. Remember the little guys who would, weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. They walk right to the edge of the. That's what I felt like. And decided I would never, ever do that to myself again. But I really connect with.
At what mile did you start to rethink that adventure?
And the first time it was mile 13, and I kept going mile 13 to 17. The second time I was well trained, and it was actually an enjoyable experience until afterwards when I didn't cool down properly, which as a track coach gave me that lesson on proper cool down.
So on my triathlon, it was at Lake in the Hills, and it's a sprint, they call it. So it's half of it, right? So you swim a mile, you bike 15, and then you run 5K. And I trained at Lifetime in the pool swimming. I could swim a mile in the pool, right? Swimming a mile in a pool is a lot different than swimming in open water. And what I mean by that is you can see the bottom. You kind of get a rhythm for stroke, 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 wall, stroke, 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 wall, stroke, stroke. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
you can measure it.
And you kind of measure it, right? And there's not a flurry of people coming right up behind you. Okay, so you get the ankle bracelet on because it measures your time in and out of the checkpoints. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let.
Sure, that's why you had the ankle bracelet
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I am not going to try to get into my. Um, as you enter the water, people are swimming on top of each other, so I just let everybody go, whoo, and then I get in the water and I start swimming, and I'm doing pretty good, right? And then all of a sudden, I hear the next wave of people coming behind me. Sounds like a bunch of piranhas, just splash, 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 splash. I start to panic, and now the water is black, brown, green.
Right.
You can't see the side, So now I start overthinking this, right? So I was about a half a mile into that swim when I started to rethink the adventure, right? And I'm like, oh my god. So they've got they've got kayaks and stuff there. So I grab a kayak and I'm like, okay, let me just. And I had psyched myself out by this time, and so the kayak pulls me back in, which is that's what they're there for, right? And literally, I was like in the middle of the lake. I could have swum to the other side of the lake, right? But you went out and then up and then back, right? Kind of a U, which gave you the mile swim. And I'm just like, man, I could have just swum over to the other side and stood up, But I had psyched myself out on that adventure at that point so far that I was just like, oh. The good news is I end up, I trained biking the 15 miles at 15 miles an hour. I hit that right on the button. I trained the 5K, ended up walking a little bit of it, but, did that. And then the great thing was the times were in the Northwest Herald, and I had one of the fastest water times. Well, I wasn't the fastest. I mean, there were some swimmers that got through that, right? But yeah, I had one of the fastest water times because it just checks your ankle bracelet.
There's a way around every system.
That's right. Trick question, she says on that last question of, if you achieved all your goals, is if you have a pulse, you aren't done. Yeah, my grandmother always said the day that you don't learn something's the day you die.
Yeah.
Right. And it is kind of a trick question, because if you achieved all your life's goals tomorrow, what would you do next? And I said nothing, but then something would pop up.
Yeah.
There's always a purpose.
I've watched so many people who stop, do nothing, and they do check out. My dad stopped farming at 71. He was dead at 73. My brother stopped doing things around the town when he was 71, 72. He checked out at 73. Yeah. So I'm not going to stop until I'm 74. I got to outlive both of them. But that's but not just them. When you're a busy guy, a busy woman, you need to stay busy. And just because you retire from a paycheck doesn't mean you stop. I see so many people in their 70s and 80s, volunteering in hospitals or doing this. You'll always be busy.
We're working with Matt Barafato, of course, the Purpose Center. We've had him on the show. His show is out on 216 and at the radio side of our platform on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 7 a.m. And so if you want good focus on purpose, right? Yeah. And that's what he talks about. And I think once we eliminate what we feel is our purpose in life, then that's when we start to slide backwards. I think, and there's a whole, you could watch documentaries on it. Listen, if you haven't, check out our good friend Kashawn Parker and Gail Watson. They wrote this book, Voices of the 21st Century, Women Empowered Through Passion and Purpose. It's a great book. It's cool because she autographed mine. But this is a cool book, and it's about empowering women. Yeah. And it's a Dr. Roberta Shaler wrote the foreword, and it's, listen, guys, it'll help you out too, right? I mean, helping women and men live more empowered lives, is what this book is all about. It's awesome. Yeah. It's a great book. If you want to, if you want it, just shoot us a quick message, and we can get you. I think Drew has a few copies that are signed by the author, but we'll get Kashawn Parker on one of these days as well. But a great book. Again, it's called Voices of the 21st Century: Women Empowered Through Passion and Purpose. If you like a good read, that's a good read.
Well, I know we talked about this on one of the next books, and I've outlined it already. I just need to sit down and write. It's going to be titled "She Touched My Heart," and it's going to be a story of the great women in my life who molded me to be the man that I became.
I love it.
Including the last one who literally touched my heart, Dr. Debbie Tabachnik, who was my surgeon for the cardiac quadruple
procedure.
That one.
That's it. Hey, listen, we got to run. Come back in about a half hour for Metaphysical Meanderings with Master Psychic Lana Duncan Hartgraves. Thanks so much to our sponsors, JH Events and Flowers and Natural Therapy Wellness. You'll see them right at the bottom of the screen, so check them out. But we will be back in a couple of weeks to move on to Dream Quest.
Dream Quest it is.
Be a fun one.
This is Tim Stewart. I am Coach Papa, and I do approve this message. Now it's time for you to get off the bench and get back in the game, because we are two bald guys and a microphone. Make it a great day, everyone.
Two bald guys and a microphone. 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 Hello, we're back, and some people been wondering where we've been. It don't matter, cause right now it's happening. Same station, new day and time slot. Content forever is flowing, we won't stop. Providing remedies for chemical brain freeze. And teaching reboot, stressing you believe. We're two bald guys and a microphone. We're glad to be back, it feels good to be home.